Hello and welcome to On the Sofa. I'm Monja and I'm joined again tonight by Susan.
Hi.
So in just a few days, we will be celebrating our national bard, Robert Burns. So despite all that's been going on in the world, we are determined to celebrate Burns Night in true Scottish style. We appreciate the limited groups and travel restrictions have caused many a Burns supper to be cancelled or to be moved online, but that doesn't mean we should miss out on a night of celebration. So, hello to Thelma and Roger in Germany. Thank you for joining us tonight, loyal fans as always. So, to start off our celebration this evening, we are delighted to welcome the wonderful Louise Marshall, who's our favourite Scottish piper. And Louise will be piping us in tonight with Scotland the Brave. So, Louise recorded this for us down at the Forth Road Bridge just before lockdown started. So, do enjoy.
Yeah. Well, that was quite a start,
Very
wasn't it?
good.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Amazing.
It's going to be quite hard to sort of follow that. So thank you, Louise. That was amazing. If you would like to hear more of Louise playing, she does actually have a brilliant CD available, which is called Welcome to Scotland, and it's available to purchase on her website. So the address is www.louisethepiper.com. And Emily, who is sort of running behind the scenes tonight, is kindly going to pop a link to that in the comments section just now as well. Okay, we have put together for you our ScotlandShop guide to Burns Night. Here we go. Have I got it the right way around? There we go. That's better. It's hard knowing which bit of the camera to hold it up to. If you would like us to send out a copy, please do comment. And we do have a digital version available also. So again, the link for that will pop up in the comments, and it means that you can have a flick through if you would prefer to do that.
Okay, so hello to Rebecca joining us tonight from Florida. It's lovely to see you again, Rebecca, another of our loyal fans. We'd be lost without you. So, what do we actually know about the life of Robert Burns? Robert Burns, or Rabbie Burns as he is fondly known in Scotland, was born on the 25th of January in 1759, although we did actually spell his name Burness until 1786, so he wasn't always a Burns. He grew up in Ayrshire in the southwest of Scotland on his father William's farm. So most of his education was actually from his father, William. And by the age of 15, Robert was a principal labourer on the farm. So during the harvest in 1774, inspiration through his assistant Nellie Kirkpatrick gave way to his first attempt at poetry, which was "Oh, Once I Loved a Bonny Lass." You might know that one, quite a famous one.
Got quite a few famous ones, hasn't it?
Well, that's very true.
Talk about a bit later. So after struggling in farming, Robert became involved in Freemasonry, and he was initiated into Masonic Lodge St David Tarbolton on 4th of July in 1781, and was passed. Excuse me, sorry, and was passed and raised on the 1st of October the same year. In early 1787, he was feted by the Edinburgh Masonic Fraternity and named the Poet Laureate of the Lodge, a title which has since been accepted by Freemasonry in general. The Edinburgh period of Burns's life was of great consequence, as further editions of the Kilmarnock edition were sponsored by the Edinburgh Freemasons, ensuring that his name spread around Scotland and subsequently to England and abroad, so much further afield.
So it depends what way you look at it, but Burns was without a doubt a bit of a ladies' man, or perhaps a true romantic, depending on your perspective. And the women in his life certainly provided him with inspiration for many of his works. His first child, Elizabeth Peyton Burns, was born in 1785 to Robert Burns's mother's servant, also named Elizabeth Peyton. And that was while he was also embarking on a relationship with Jean Amour, who became pregnant with his twins in March 1786. So that is a rendition, a painting of the couple there, Jean and Robert. So Burns was eventually married to Jean Amour in 1788, and after many family feuds. So maybe a bit of a true romantic, sort of love-defying all.
Yeah, I would guess so.
She actually gave birth to 9 of his children, although unfortunately only 3 survived infancy.
I guess they had their hands full.
Absolutely. I can't imagine 9.
No. Okay, so Burns took up a job as a bookkeeper on a slave plantation in Jamaica when he came into financial difficulty looking after his family. It was around about this time he fell in love with Mary Campbell and dedicated the poems The Highland Lassie O, Highland Mary, and To Mary in Heaven for her, or to her. There are suggestions they planned to emigrate to Jamaica together after a marriage ceremony, but Mary returned home to her parents. So there's more to this. Further love affairs and romances included Nancy. So it was Nancy McElhose and Jenny Clow. So these were who was Nancy's domestic servant, who also bore him a son, Robert Burns Clow, and in 1788, before he returned to Jean Amour in 1788. So quite a lot going on there. Hard to keep up
love
with,
affairs.
With all of that there. Yeah.
So in April 1786, in need of more money to emigrate, Burns decided to try to publish some of his poems. So on 31st of July in 1786, John William, who's a local printer in Kilmarnock, published the volume of works by Robert Burns' poems, chiefly in the Scottish dialect. It was a huge success and he was soon known across the whole country. He then began his music career in 1787 when he met James Johnson, and the first volume of the Scots Musical Museum was published, containing 3 of Burns' songs.
In 1788, he returned to farming on a farm near Dumfries, but he also trained as a tax collector, and so gave up farming in 1791 when he had created a career in custom and excise. I didn't know that. I just learned that sort of fairly recently, actually. It was around about this time that he was writing at his very best, and in November 1790, he produced, wait for it, are we ready? Tam O'Shanter. Mine's a bit squint.
Let's get our Tams on right.
Yeah, there we go. I don't think I've got mine on very well. Okay. He also began writing lyrics for the Melodies of Scotland. So, famous poems. As I say, there's quite a few. So I'd imagine you will know some of the names, and if not, hopefully maybe sort of learn some new ones that maybe we could sort of look up afterwards, look up online. I'm sure you'll find them. So his poem and song Auld Lanzine is often sung at New Year's Eve, which we like to call here in Scotland Hogmanay. And Scots Wha served for a long time as the unofficial national anthem of the country. Other poems and songs of Burns that remain well known across the world today include A Red, Red Rose, A Man's a Man for All That, To a Moose, The Battle of Shirramuir, Tam O'Shanter, and A Fond Kiss. Many of Burns' most famous poems are songs with the music based upon an older traditional song. For example, Auld Lang Syne is set to the traditional tune of Can Ye Labour Lee, and A Red, Red Rose is set to the tune of Major Graham, and The Battle of Shirramuir is set to the Cameronian Rant. There we go. Something, again, I didn't know actually.
No, me either. Lots of learning days here. So Rabbie Burns sadly passed away on the 21st of July, 1796, aged 37, after a dental extraction. And he was first buried in the far corner of St Michael's Churchyard in Dumfries. However, his body was eventually moved in September 1815 to its final resting place, which was still in the same cemetery, but it was in the Burns Mausoleum. And Jean Amour was laid to rest with him in 1834. The one who had 9 of his children. Yeah. So that's quite lovely, in a sad sort of way, I guess. So Burns, who was without doubt a romantic poet, was regarded as the national poet of Scotland. and he is the best known of the poets who have written in the Scots language. His themes included republicanism, radicalism, Scottish patriotism, sorry, my words are getting a bit muddled. Anti-clericalism, class inequalities, gender roles, commentary on the Scottish kirk of his time, Scottish cultural identity, poverty, sexuality, and the beneficial aspects of popular socialising. The strong emotional highs and lows associated with many Burns poems have actually led some to suggest that he may have suffered from manic depression, which I guess gives a new light to some of his poems.
Yeah, I guess, definitely. Okay, so Burns clubs. Burns clubs have been founded worldwide, so all around the world. The first one, which is known as the Mother Club, was founded in Greenock in 1801 by merchants born in Ayrshire, some of them who'd actually known Robert Burns. The club set its original objectives as to cherish the name of Robert Burns, to foster a love of his writings, and generally to encourage an interest in the Scottish language and literature. So all sounds all very good and positive. The club also continues to have local charitable work as one of their priorities.
Always very good.
Excuse me. Burns' birthplace in Alloway is now a public museum known as Burns Cottage. I think I was saying to you, I think it was quite a long time ago, I went as a child on a school trip. I'm sure I'd imagine it's maybe slightly different now from in terms of, yeah.
I'm sure we've all, if you went to school in Scotland,
it's probably a standard,
sort of a classic school trip, wasn't it?
Definitely. His house in Dumfries is operated as the Robert Burns House, and the Robert Burns Centre in Dumfries features more exhibits of his life and works. Ellisland Farm in Aldgarth, which he owned from 1788 to 1791, is now a museum and working farm.
Oh, so the Soviet Union was the first country in the world to honour Burns with a commemorative stamp, marking the 160th anniversary of his death in 1956. So Burns is also pictured on the £5 banknote since 1971 of the Clydesdale Bank, which is one of the Scottish banks with the right to issue banknotes. On the reverse of the note, there is a vignette of a field mouse and a wild rose, which refers to Burns's poem To a Moose. In September 2007, the Bank of Scotland redesigned their banknotes, and Robert Burns' statue is now portrayed on the reverse side of the new £5. So in 2009, the Royal Mint issued a commemorative £2 coin featuring a quote from Auld Lang
Okay. So, there we go. There's a little image of the coin there, which is, we saw that earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Saying I've never actually seen one, but
circulation,
Emily was telling us that it's actually worth a lot more than £2 now. So if you've got one, dig it out and you might get, I don't know, triple the value, I think.
Keep hold of it.
Keep hold and hope it goes up.
Don't give it to anyone. It's really nice.
It is.
Okay, so moving on to Burns Night. Yes, so Burns Night is celebrated on the 25th of January, not too far away, and celebrations take place all around the world. If you have celebrated in previous years or in a sort of different way or a fun way, do feel free to let us know and comment. We always like to hear your stories and tales. Okay, so the first Burns supper in the Mother Club was held on what they thought was Robert Burns' birthday, which was they thought originally was the 29th of January in 1802. But in 1803, they actually discovered from the Ayr parish records that the correct date was, of course, the 25th of January, 1759. There we go.
At least it was only 1 year that they got that wrong, I guess.
She had a double party that year, I would say. Okay, so the format of Burns suppers hasn't changed since it was first celebrated. The basic format starts with a general welcome and announcements, followed with the Selkirk Grace. After the grace, the haggis is piped into the room, so talented pipers like Louise walk ahead of the chef carrying the haggis on the silver platter. So you can see in the picture there, we have the haggis being piped in. Now, okay, if you're in Chicago, you'll know the story of the Haggis child, which is I just learned this one today.
Favorite now.
I know, I was blown away when in years gone by, the silver platter was instead a platform topped with what could only be described as a giant tartan tea cosy. So that would have been quite a spectacle. Coming in, carried in by 4 strong gentlemen, it was laid down and opened to reveal a small child. There you go.
The Haggis child.
The Haggis child. It was a great honour to be chosen as the Haggis child, and was a way of thanking a family who had done great things in the community that year. It was also a way of involving the younger generations in celebrations, which is a really good idea. And you can actually read the full story on this. It's in our blog later this week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hello to Lorraine in South Africa for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Hope you're learning a lot about Robert Burns. Do let us know how you're going to celebrate this year. So after this dramatic entrance to the Burns supper, then Burns' famous address to a haggis is read, and the haggis is then cut open. The meal is served, and then the reading called The Immortal Memory, an overview of Burns' life and work, is given. Toast to the lassies follows, which is a thanks to the ladies for preparing the food, and a toast to the lassies in Burns' life, of which there were a few.
So they're quite a long toast.
So many a cheeky spin is put on this, and Anna's husband even did a rap version one year, complete with tartan baseball cap on back to front. We did ask him to join us tonight for a one night only replay, but unfortunately he declined. Maybe we'll convince him for next year.
You can start a petition.
So he has been asked to dig out the old words and submit a video for our Burns competition as well. So potentially, if you watch this space. So then the response is given, and the event usually concludes with the singing of Auld Lang Syne.
Okay, so we're now going to chat a little bit about a Burns supper menu. So hopefully, again, if you've maybe not celebrated Burns night or just looking for some new ideas, that this will just sort of give you some. I was going to say food for thought, but I was like, that's so tacky. I didn't mean it came out though, didn't it? Anyway, okay, Burns supper menu. So obviously, food and drink are essentials for any good Burns night, I think. And in vast quantities.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So we've put together a simple menu, which, we're sure that you would have a great night and also impress guests. Mm-hmm. So, starter. First up, cockaliki soup and Cullen skink are both starters that you would find at a typical or a traditional bird supper, and are a sure way also to warm up a cold winter's night.
Definitely.
Yum, yum. Mm-hmm. Main meal, now hopefully a bit more obvious, would be haggis. So haggis served with turnips, which can also be known as neeps, and potatoes, what we can call tatties. So haggis, neeps and tatties. So that forms the main meal at a Burns night celebration, with the haggis obviously the focal point of the whole supper. We saw an advert in Macbeth, the Butchers and Moray this week, which we loved because they were advertising to say that they were recruiting for a seasonal haggis hunter. That would be a good job.
Very
don't know if
tricky job.
Don't know how rewarding a job, but fun nonetheless. So if haggis hunting does sound fun to you, then you can join our very own Lowland Haggis Hunt on YouTube, on our YouTube series. Mm-hmm. Again, Emily is going to kindly pop the link on there if you want to get haggis hunting. Why not? And if you are purchasing a haggis to eat on Burns night, then of course you must go to McSween's for your Burns night haggis. Mm-hmm. Emily interviewed James McSween last week, and you can find that interview on our YouTube channel if you want to have a good look. It was a good one, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Very interesting. A lot about haggis I didn't know.
Haggis is very nice. I don't know if it is is it a Marmite one where people either love it or just really don't, but
So I love Marmite, so
haggis.
Haggis is amazing.
Haggis is good. Okay, and then finally for dessert, we would recommend finishing off with a traditional Scottish dessert, such as cranachan. And in case you haven't tasted this, we highly recommend. It is a pudding which consists of raspberries folded into cream, flavoured with honey, whiskey, vital, and toasted oatmeal.
I'll get as much whiskey in the dinner as well as in the glass.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So another idea we have, it's not really a dessert, but more of a sweet treat for Burns night, maybe to go along with your nip of whiskey at the end of the night, is a chocolate haggis. So we have to thank one of our favourite people for allowing us to share this recipe with you, Linda Fraser, former president of the St Andrew's Society in Tallahassee, told us about this delicious variation of traditional haggis, which is based on Scottish tiffin. And that was during our tartan tour of Florida at the very start of 2020, just before travel restrictions began. So that's a photo of Emily and Linda there, Emily from our marketing department, having a lovely time in Tallahassee. So when Anna and Emily returned from Florida, we made sure to share the recipe with the rest of the tartan team. And luckily for us, Tasman from our customer experience department gave it a shot. It was really, really delicious, and it went down a treat at ScotlandShop headquarters. As well as in the shop, we got a wee taste up here as well.
Lucky enough to get some as
well. Definitely try it. It didn't last very long. But you can find the recipe on the blog if you do want to have a wee shot of that. A nice alternative, I guess, if you don't fancy the the typical haggis for Burns night.
Or if you've cooked it yourself in a sort of different, or served it in a different way, then let us know if it's a sort of different recipe. Always good to learn new ways of cooking it and serving it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then lastly, Burns night whiskey. So whiskey is used for toasting the haggis, the immortal memory, and the toast to the lasses. In case you need an excuse for a wee dram, here we have provided a rundown of the top 5 single malt Scottish whiskies that you can enjoy with your haggis. So that's on the blog. So have a wee look and see what you think.
Get some ideas. So what should you wear for Burns night? So for the laddies or the gentlemen, the age-old question when it comes to the most exciting Scottish event of the year, what should I wear to a Burns supper? So obviously this year, our Burns suppers will be taking place on Zoom and at home. So therefore, dress is likely to be less formal and more impromptu. So you might not need the full traditional Highland dress this year, unless of course you have it in your wardrobe and fancy giving an outing. I have done a few formally dressed video calls this year, just for
it's quite nice, isn't it?
A bit of a change,
Dressed up.
Save sitting in your jammies.
We don't do that,
no. Never. So we also have lots of accessories that you will enjoy wearing year round rather than just on the one occasion. So if you did want to add a little bit of Burns tartan, or just your favourite tartan even, you can go for a slightly smaller accessory for this year. So we have created a few mood boards to give you inspiration of products you can pair together to give you an extra helping hand. Or you can, of course, go and have a browse of the Burns Night category on our website, which is filled with product recommendations. So for the gents, there are 2 ways you can add tartan into your outfit. You can go the whole hog with larger items such as a kilt outfit or a 3-piece tartan suit, and it will definitely turn a few heads with other guests, and it is our favourite way to wear tartan. It's very bold, but you can always go for a more muted tartan if you you want to go for the full dress but not too in your face.
And then you can always, later on sort of mix, so you can wear the waistcoat on its own, or
exactly,
sort of mix it up a wee bit.
It's always a nice option. We say go big or go home.
Although
this year we do understand paring things down a little bit is probably the way most people will be going, and you can choose to accessorize using tartan. So for things like that, we'd suggest maybe a bow tie, cummerbund, or cufflinks. It's definitely a much more subtle approach, but they are likely to be more beneficial this year, as your outfit will only be seen from the waist up. So if you did want to keep your pajama bottoms on, then no one will know.
Nobody will ever
remember
know.
that when you stand up to go and get the haggis.
I was going to say, Okay, and then for the lasses, so somehow it does seem easier for the lasses to add a touch of tartan to their outfit. So if you don't want to go all out with a dress or a bolero jacket, then we have so many lovely little brooches, bags, stoles, and other accessories. So you're really spot for choice. And again, you can go all out or just add a little teeny bit. Our favourite tartans to pair together for the big night are the Burns check, which Monja, you've got here. You've got it on. I've got it here as well. Burns check with the black watch. Again,
as well.
That chap. I've got both. I've got the black.
You've got the black watch on as well.
Or Thompson Camel and Scotland Forever, which
is this combination
on
here.
this lady here. So we think they really complement each other really well. But remember, tartan is such a timeless piece that you can never go wrong, no matter what variation or what combination you choose. If you're struggling to think of what accessories to add to your outfit, then fear not. Our Burns in a Box package, hey, makes it easy for you. So we've crafted these really lovely Burns in a Box that are packed full of accessories that are perfect for an at-home or a virtual celebration. We've got a box for men, women, and even a couples box. So if you feel like matching with your other half, I think we've got one of our little nice Burns bauble. You can see the Burns bauble on the screen there, but they're really nice as well, aren't they?
Absolutely. So Rebecca has told us she recently discovered Ardbeg whiskey, so we'll be opening that for Burns night.
Oh,
it's
yummy.
very, very good. So enjoy that, Rebecca.
Yes.
It's a perfect way to celebrate Robbie Burns,
Oh,
I would say.
definitely.
I'm sure he would approve of that. So venues and tables are also usually decorated in the Scottish theme too, with tartan, tablecloths and napkins. So we even have a Burns in a Box for your table, not just for your accessories.
Yeah.
Again, with the Burns Check theme, so you can coordinate your outfit with your table display. There are no half measures with ScotlandShop for Burns Night 2021. So we teamed up with a few of our favourite Scottish brands to bring you this one. So in the table box, you can also find Mackie's Haggis crisps,
Yum,
which
yum.
are some of our favourites. So we've got those here.
Yeah.
You can find Nairn's Oatcakes, Ross's Edinburgh Castle Rock, and of course McSween Haggis Bible, and our guide to celebrating Burns Night. So now you're all dressed up and ready to go.
Ready to celebrate, yes. Okay, to help spread some Scottish cheer, we've also introduced a couple of new products. Our Burns Night Hip Flask and our Robert Burns decoration. I mentioned that a little while ago. I'll see if I can get that. I'm so bad at holding stuff up to this camera. There we go. That's good.
You can see him
There he
nicely
is.
there.
He's a bit. There we go. That's it. Straighten off a bit. Hopefully, you can use these to introduce a wee bit of Burns to your desk or your Burns night table. Lovely, lovely. So Burns night just wouldn't be the same without hearing the address to the haggis, the Selkirk Grace, and a selection of Burns' best. We might not be able to celebrate with a large Burns supper this year, but COVID won't stop us from celebrating our national bard.
Mm-hmm.
So we're currently running. You may have seen this. Our Robert Burns competition.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite exciting. So we are looking for adults, children, and groups to send us their renditions, whether it be the words of Rabbi himself or simply a poem inspired by Scotland. We want to hear it all. We want to hear from you. We shall share our favourite entries throughout the month before announcing a winner, or the winner, so there's more than one winner, on the 1st of February. We have some wonderful Scottish hampers full of tartan goodies waiting to be won, so don't miss out. Still plenty of time to get involved.
Get your entries in.
Yes, and then keep an eye out too, as we are also working on our very own rendition to share with you too. Okay.
And that's a lovely poem that we received this week, I think, from a lovely young gentleman. It's very good, actually. Bit of inspiration for you. And hello to Luke as well. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening.
Luke's asking how we are tonight.
We're good.
Very well, thank you.
We're looking forward to eating the crisps.
Yes. That's our treat for the end of the night.
Our haggis crisps. Yay.
Dig into our wee bit of haggis. And we've been coming up with a lot of our own haggis recipes as well. So watch out for that and to see our favourite haggis recipes as well later.
And if you want to find out more about the competition, then do just head to our website and you can find more information there.
Perfect.
Brilliant.
So I think we've got a few questions now. So what's our first one?
First question, are there any Robert Burns statues?
They're absolutely Burns statues. Yes. So there are well over 60 statues dedicated to Rabbi. So there's he's actually third in line after Christopher Columbus and Queen Victoria in the number of statues dedicated to a non-religious figure worldwide. So good job, Robert.
Yeah.
Robert the poet. So there are at least 20 statues of Burns throughout Scotland, with 3 alone in Dumfries, which is where he passed away. And there's one in Leith in Edinburgh as well that you can go and see. So Gus Noble, president of Chicago Scots, told us a lovely story last night actually about how he was married beside the statue in Chicago, and Red Red Rose made up part of their wedding vows, which is
That's
really
nice, isn't
lovely.
it? That's
It's nice to
lovely.
sort of tie that into
Oh,
your
yeah.
surroundings. And Emily as well managed to visit the statue in Central Park in New York City as well
Cool.
last year, which would have been amazing actually. Yeah. So
Okay.
there we go.
And yeah, our next question.
So somebody has asked us, are there any tartans associated with burns?
Yes, is the answer. We will elaborate. That wasn't it.
That's the answer.
The Burns check was first produced in 1959 during the bicentenary of the birth of our beloved bard. So we can see up there the Burns check modern.
Mm-hmm.
The late Baron Marchmont of Messrs. George Harrison and Co. of Edinburgh, that's a mouthful, wasn't it? Was approached by a friend from the Scotsman newspaper who suggested the idea of a Robert Burns tartan. Initially, they planned to base the design on the Campbell clan tartan, as the last name Burns is historically linked with this clan. Makes sense. However, after much discussion, they felt it was more appropriate to base it on the black and white shepherd's check. The Hodden Grey overcheck is reference to the famous line in his poem, "A man's a man for all that." And 2 green lines through the overcheck symbolise the fields and meadows where most of his thoughts were born. That's really
lovely.
nice.
Nice meaning behind them.
Yeah, I like that.
And there is also, as you can see on the screen there, an Auld Lang Syne grey tartan. So if you don't want to go for the burns, then the Auld Lang Syne, it's actually really nice with the sort of muted greys through it. Quite a subtle one.
Definitely.
Oh, and Rebecca is a fan of the Burns check modern.
Good.
We are too, Rebecca.
Yes.
Got my scarf on as well. So.
Again, I think just it's it's quite versatile as well.
It is, absolutely. Goes with just about anything. So enjoy your haggis and have a lovely time however you do spend Burns night. We'd love to see photos of you in your outfits for the evening, and of course your table display. And however you are managing to celebrate this year, please send us photos and stories over to Facebook, Instagram, or email as well.
Look forward to seeing them. Yes.
So make sure to join us same time, same place next week. And we'll see you then.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.